Now let's turn back to Florida for the Knocking Neighbor shooting trial. Susan Lorincz is charged with manslaughter and assault. She is on the trial for the death of her neighbor that she shot through her locked front door. Now, she says she was scared and that she shot in self-defense. 35-year-old Dajika Owens was knocking on Lorinc's door to confront her over an incident with her kids. She was a mother of 4 children. She died of a gunshot wound to the chest. Right now, we have a second officer testifying about what he saw when he arrived at the crime scene just minutes after the shooting.
Yes.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of a portion of your body camera, sir?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, I would move this evidence states exhibit G.
Subject to our object, subject to our.
I note the objection, overrule the objection. Do you want me to read the instruction on
Yes, sir.
edited recordings?
Please.
Okay. So states G would be an evidence that states number 6. Members of the jury, if you can listen carefully to me. Members of the jury, you're about to view or listen to an audio or video recording. The court instructs you that the recording has been edited to eliminate irrelevant portions that would not add to your understanding of the case. The fact that the recording has been edited should not concern you in any way and must not impact the way you view or listen to and consider this evidence. Let me know when you're ready.
Ready, Your Honor.
1 second.
She said there's an old white lady. Right here.
Yeah, do you have your trauma bag?
Bro,
Where?
ex-military. She's in the house, bro. That apartment. Right here. This first apartment.
Wake up, baby, wake up! Baby, wake up! Come on! Hey, baby, wake up!
We need to do CPR real quick.
Baby, wake up!
CPR.
Baby, wake up!
Let me see. Do we have any pulse?
Signal 35. Just for
Do we have any pulse?
Corporation 1033.
We got a pulse! We got a pulse! Is the Marion County Sheriff's Office still outside with your hands up? Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Turn around. Turn around. Where's your gun at?
You got hands? You got hands?
You're going to be detained.
Is there anybody else in the house?
There's somebody else in the house. Could I just get my brother?
No, not right now.
All right.
You're not under arrest. You're being detained.
Okay, I understand.
Come over here.
Wait, can we close the door? I have 2 cats inside.
Hold on.
One of the cats still running out.
Med bag. Get my med bag. Start giving first aid.
The police bag? Green shoulder bag. Here.
Go assess the person now. Okay, you just
Now, Deputy Barboza, we see in your body cam as you're approaching the defendant's residence, there is an individual on the ground. Did you find out that individual was Audrey Owens?
Yes, I did.
Now, we see you leaving the patrol vehicle. What did you go and do as you left the patrol vehicle?
I then checked the victim for a pulse and to see if she was breathing, at which point I determined she was not, so I began to administer first aid.
Okay. So when you went up to Miss Owens on the ground, you checked for a pulse. There was no pulse. You checked if she was breathing. There was no breathing. Did you hear Miss Owens say anything?
No, I did not.
Okay. Was she unresponsive?
Yes.
Did you observe any wounds at all on Miss Owens?
She had a gunshot wound to, I believe it was the upper right side of her chest.
And so you provided medical assistance?
Yes, I did.
Now, when you were providing medical assistance and you were tending to Miss Owens, did you get pretty close to Miss Owens there on the ground?
Yes, I did.
Now, when you were next to Miss Owens, did you ever see any firearms on Miss Owens?
No, I did not.
Did you ever see any firearms in the immediate area?
No, I did not.
Did you see any weapons of any kind on Miss Owens' person?
No, I did not.
Did you see any in the immediate area?
No, I did not.
Did you speak to a Uriel Baez Rodriguez?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Was it pretty soon after you arrived there?
Maybe 10 to 12 minutes after my arrival.
Okay. And just how would you describe just as a general condition?
Very emotionally distraught.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
No cross-examination.
See you excused.
Yes, Judge.
Have a nice day, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Does anyone need a break before we go further? All right. Next witness, please.
Okay. The state would...
Before they call their next witness, it's a perfect time to welcome our guest for this hour, criminal defense attorney Eric Puryear. Eric, thank you for being on with us today. I want to start with that body cam video, and you really can't take away from the fact that that paints a picture for the jury of the chaos and the horror that was going on as she was being arrested. The people in the background that had witnessed, that were there, that she was on the ground, not breathing, all of those things. And as that comes into evidence, what does the jury take away?
I think it really depends upon who they have on that jury. All the jurors are going to see the emotion, they're going to feel the heartbreak of all of that, but whether the chaos, whether all the noise, whether all of the surrounding things impacts them in a way that leads them to see this more in a defense light or more in a prosecution light, really is going to come down to what the jurors' life experiences have been, what they've seen, and how they're taking in the rest of the evidence.
Yeah, good points. And I understand that you may be a certified firearms expert. And if that is the case, I would love to ask you about your initial thoughts, Eric, knowing that the allegation is she shot through her locked metal door, killing the mother of four.
Oh, yes. You are correct, Judge Ashley. I am, in fact, an NRA certified firearms instructor. I've been one for about as long as I've been an attorney. It's not a profession of mine, but I have given hundreds of people their training to be able to carry here in Iowa. So it is a kind of case I enjoy, too. I've tried self-defense cases, shooting cases, murder cases. The whole idea of shooting through a locked door is just a bad idea. It's really hard to find a good legal justification for doing so. Self-defense is a basic human right. I fully support it. The law fully supports it. But when a person is shooting through a door, not being able to see the other side, it's very hard to say that they were actually in fear for their safety, because the other person's on the other side of that locked door, and they can't even see what it is they're shooting at.
I agree with you. Just, listening to what we expect the evidence to be in this case, and opening statements is really going to lay that out for us, Eric. But in the meantime, what we know is, hey, she literally shot through a locked door. Now, she does say she was in fear for her life, but do you think a jury can buy that, or these bad facts, meaning this is something that self-defense isn't a defense that's going to work, in your opinion?
It's hard to say this early on, but if I had to make a guess, just based upon what we know so far, I think the defense has a very much an uphill battle here to convince this jury that a person shooting through a locked door at a person they can't see, not able to see who else might be around, who is in the background, that their action is a reasonable one. So I think the defense has their work cut out for them here.
Yeah, I think they do too. And then we know not only the body cam video, there was also that police interrogation. So we have lots of her, the defendant, in her own words that, of course, both sides, I'm sure, will utilize for and against her. Stay with us, Eric. We're going to take a break. When we come back, of course, we'll get you back inside this courtroom.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, a Tennessee man faces a potential death sentence in a twisted murder case. We'll bring you today's key moments as this high-stakes trial gets underway.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on Court TV.
Friday nights, the WNBA is on Ion. This week, the Mercury travel to Indy, followed by the Sun facing off against the Wings in Dallas. Coverage starts Friday night at 7. Check local listings for games in your area. Ion, it's on.
Before we take you back to court in Florida, a quick programming note in the suitcase murder trial for pro se defendant Sarah Boone. There will be a hearing for the case tomorrow afternoon, and the judge will decide whether or not the media should be allowed to be at a September hearing. Boone does not want the media there at that hearing because it's about discovery, and she says it's none of their business. She is charged with second-degree murder for allegedly zipping up her boyfriend in a suitcase and leaving him there to die. There is a video of her taunting him, but she maintains it was all part of a game of hide and seek gone wrong. Of course, we will take you to that courtroom live tomorrow for every minute of that hearing. Let's head back now to Florida, where we've been watching testimony in the knocking neighbor murder trial. Susan Lorincz is charged with fatally shooting her neighbor, Miss Owens, in 2023 amid a dispute with Owens and her children. Deputies say they had been called several times before the shooting to mediate disagreements between those two women. We want to take you back now, right where we left off. An officer, again, telling the jury what he saw in the shooting aftermath. Let's go back inside that courtroom.
What's his first name?
Ashton, it's a female.
Her first name. What is her last name?
Welfenberg, Welfenberg.
Raise your hand, Bill.
Face the clerk.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to be able to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, ma'am, I do.
Have a seat, please.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Sure. My name is Ashton Welfenberg, and I'm a deputy with the Marion County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been a deputy with the Sheriff's Office?
2 years, sir.
What's your position there? Just a patrol deputy?
Patrol deputy, yes, sir, and field training officer.
All right. So I want to talk about June 2nd, 2023. Were you on duty as a patrol deputy that evening?
Yes, sir, I was.
Did you receive a call for service in the area of 1668 Southwest 108th Lane in Ocala?
Yes, sir, I did.
Now, what time do you remember that you arrived at that residence?
I don't recall, but I can look at the CAD notes.
Sure.
Refresh.
Just read it to yourself and then let me know. Your memory is correct.
I'm ready, sir.
I'm sorry?
I'm ready, sir.
Okay. What time did you arrive? You remember?
21:09 hours.
Okay, so about, that's 9:09?
Yes, sir.
Non-military time?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you arrived at 9:09. What did you see when you arrived? Can you describe to the jury the scene?
Sure. When I arrived, I saw Deputy Stringer. He was escorting an elderly female, the defendant, away from a residence. There was a group of people near a tree, and at their feet was the victim, Miss Owens. And there was another young deputy, Deputy Barboza, who was there trying to render Miss Owens aid.
Now, did you go up to Miss Owens there on the ground?
Yes, sir, I did.
Or did you assess the situation?
Yes, sir.
Did you observe any bleeding, any blood, any injuries, things like that?
Yes. So Miss Owens was bleeding from her mouth. At the time I evaluated her, she did have a faint pulse. She had an injury to her upper right torso that was consistent with a gunshot wound. When I cut her clothing away, I didn't see any exit wound.
So you removed her shirt, and did you have to cut a bra as well?
Yes, I cut her shirt and I cut a portion of her sports bra that she was wearing in order to assess her wound better and to help treat her.
Did you treat the wound at all while you were there?
Yes, sir, I did.
Now, when you were there, did you ever hear Miss Owens make any statements?
No, sir.
Was Miss Owens unresponsive the entire time you were next to her?
Yes, sir.
Was Miss Owens ultimately taken by paramedics?
Yes, sir, she was.
Now, did you see the defendant in this case, Miss Lorincz?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. You mentioned earlier, I think she was at the scene and she was being taken to the patrol car.
Yes, sir.
Now, did you speak to any witnesses in this case?
Yes, sir, I did.
Now, there on the scene while you were there, did you come into contact with a Isaac Williams?
Yes, sir.
Did you come into contact with a Israel Owens as well?
I did, yes, sir.
Did you speak to them?
Yes, sir.
In what condition were they in?
Objection relevance?
What's the relevance of this? Sustain the objection. Let's move on a little bit.
Now, when you saw Miss Owens there on the ground, you were pretty close to her.
Yes, sir.
Did you observe any weapons on Miss Owens' person?
No, sir, I didn't.
Did you see any weapons on the ground right around Miss Owens' area?
No, sir, I didn't.
Okay. Did you see any firearms on Miss Owens' person?
No, sir.
Or any firearms on the ground in Miss Owens' immediate person?
No, sir.
Now, the defendant, was she ultimately put in the back of your patrol car?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you, stand by the defendant for some time there at the scene?
I stood by her briefly at the scene, and I transported her to the Marion County Sheriff's Office to be interviewed by detectives.
Okay. So you spent some time with her standing there at the scene and then ultimately taking her to the Sheriff's Office, correct?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. And how would you describe her demeanor during your interaction with her?
She seemed to be indifferent. She wasn't...
Objection, improper opinion, speculation, move to strike.
Overrule the objection.
You can finish answering the question.
She seemed to be indifferent. She wasn't crying or what I would expect of somebody who is
Hold on,
just shot anyone.
Just describe what you saw.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I have, make sure 1 second, Your Honor. No further questions.
No questions.
You're excused. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Excuse, Judge.
Next witness.
State calls Taylor Paxton.
While we're waiting on that next witness, let me bring in criminal defense attorney Eric Puryear. Eric, I asked, could I come out and speak to you? Because here's something I noticed. The prosecution got out the point they wanted made with this deputy who was on scene treating the victim. And the last thing she said was the defendant's demeanor seemed to be indifferent, not what I expected from someone who shot themselves. That's the last thing the jury heard from this witness. Now, if you were the defense attorney, would you have asked something, anything on cross-examination to take the focus away from that?
I would have tried to ask something that might suggest that a person could be in shock, that we all process things differently. But the way it ended there was very bad for the defense.
That's what I think as well. Now, do you think it's proper or appropriate for the defendant's demeanor to come in as evidence, given it's at the time or around the time the incident happened?
I think it is, both because it may show or refute the idea that this was a killing done because of previous bad blood versus actual self-defense. And it also goes to show the mind state of the person who fired the gun. You know, if it's right around that time, were they still upset? Were they angry? Were they scared? Or is it something where they're happy with the outcome? And I think that's something the jury is going to weigh.
And it is, you know, some people have been commenting she seemed more concerned about her cat because she asked the officer about that than the fact she had just shot someone. That's just some feedback from our viewers. The other thing I just wanted to mention for viewers is a reminder that, yes, the defendant is still in jail. She did have a bond set at $154,000 and has been unable to make that bond, therefore still incarcerated in the jail. All right, stay tuned.